Picture this. You're getting ready to drop well over $1,000 on Samsung's next big flagship, the Galaxy S26 Ultra. You're expecting the usual story. Higher specs, higher hype, and of course, a higher price than last year. But what if that last part doesn't happen? According to early leaks, Samsung might actually keep the Galaxy S26 Ultra at the same price as the S25 Ultra. On the surface, that sounds like amazing news for anyone planning to upgrade. However, as always with Samsung, there's a catch. Keeping the Ultra's price stable could come with some painful trade-offs for the regular Galaxy S26 and S26 Plus. And on top of that, there are three critical areas that could decide whether the Galaxy S26 Ultra is a must-buy or an easy pass: the camera system, the software, and One UI experience, and the battery and charging situation. And based on what we're hearing so far, Samsung might be dropping the ball on all three. In this video, we're breaking down the latest Galaxy S26 Ultra price leaks, why Samsung might avoid a price hike on the Ultra, how the regular S26 and S26 Plus could get more expensive in weird ways, and the three features that will ultimately decide if the S26 Ultra is worth your money. Stick around until the end, because some of these rumored decisions are honestly hard to justify, especially when you look at what Apple, Vivo, Xiaomi, and other competitors are doing. Let's start with the most important topic for most people: price. Galaxy S26 Ultra price. Why it might not go up according to Tech Maniacs, a Greek tech site with industry insiders. The Samsung Galaxy S26 Ultra price might stay exactly the same as last year's model. No $50 bump. No $100 shock. Just the same flagship price tag we're used to seeing from Samsung's Ultra series. Given what's happening in the tech industry right now, that's genuinely surprising. Component costs are rising. AI is eating up resources. Manufacturing is getting more expensive. Inflation hasn't magically disappeared. So how is Samsung apparently keeping the Ultra's price flat? Well, by making the rest of the lineup do the heavy lifting. The weird pricing strategy for Galaxy S26 and S26. Plus, here's where things get strange. The same leaks suggest that while the Galaxy S26 Ultra might keep its price, the regular Galaxy S26 and Galaxy S26 Plus will get a much more complicated pricing structure. According to these rumors, the base storage models of the S26 and S26 Plus will be more expensive than last year, but the higher storage variants will be cheaper than their S25 counterparts. That sounds backwards at first. Why would the entry-level version get pricier while the upgraded versions get cheaper? Think about how most people shop. The majority of buyers pick the cheapest option, the base storage model. Very few people go straight for the 512 gigabytes or 1 terabyte models, unless they really need that storage. So if you're Samsung and you want to keep the Ultra price steady while parts are getting more expensive, one way to offset that is quietly nudge up the price of the most popular variants, base S26 and S26 Plus, while making the higher storage models look like a better value on paper. It's a clever strategy from a business point of view. You increase your average revenue per phone on the regular models. You make higher storage options look more attractive, and you can still market the Ultra as same price as last year even if your overall lineup quietly gets more expensive. But it also creates a really weird and confusing Galaxy S26 price structure that we're not used to seeing. Conflicting leaks, base versus higher storage price hikes, to make things even more complicated. This is not the only pricing story floating around. Previous leaks suggested the opposite, that higher storage variants would get the price increases instead of the base models. In other words, some sources claim base models stay roughly the same, higher storage versions go up. So right now, we're looking at conflicting reports. Until Samsung officially announces the Galaxy S26 lineup, you should treat all of this as rumor, not fact. But there is one detail that a lot of leaks seem to agree on, and this could be a game changer. No more 128 gigabytes. Galaxy S26 starts at 256 GBM ULTIPLE. Sources are saying that the base Galaxy S26 model will no longer come with 128 gigabytes of storage. Instead, it'll start at 256 gigabytes, just like the higher-end models in the lineup. So, what does that mean for you? Even if Samsung keeps the price roughly the same as the current 128 gigabytes base model, you'd technically be paying the same amount per phone, but getting double the storage. From a pure value standpoint, that's not a bad deal at all. From a marketing angle, it sounds great. Galaxy S26, now with 256 gigabytes starting storage at the same price. But remember, behind that headline, Samsung might still be raising the overall average price across the range by tweaking different storage tiers and removing the old, cheaper configuration. So why is all this happening? Why are storage and RAM such a big deal right now? The answer can be summed up in two letters: AI, Ramageddon. How AI is pushing prices up. We're in the middle of what a lot of analysts are calling Ramageddon. AI data centers around the world are consuming insane amounts of DRAM and high bandwidth memory. Companies like OpenAI, Google, and Meta are buying RAM like there's no tomorrow to power large language models, image generators, and cloud AI services. When demand for memory skyrockets in data centers, it doesn't just affect servers. It affects every device that uses RAM, including smartphones. Now, combine that with another trend. Phone makers are pushing on-device AI hard. Things like live translation, AI photo and video editing, AI summaries and voice assistants, generative wallpapers, camera scene optimization powered by neural models. All that needs more RAM to run smoothly on the device itself, instead of just relying on the cloud. The Galaxy S26 series is very likely to ship with more RAM than previous generations, especially on the Ultra, to power all of Samsung's Galaxy AI features. And more RAM in a market where memory prices are rising means higher production costs. Now, Samsung does have one advantage. They actually manufacture their own memory chips. That gives them more control over supply and cost compared to many rivals. But even Samsung can't fully escape market forces. If RAM and storage prices climb, they either charge you more, lower their margins, or reshuffle pricing across the lineup like these leaks suggest. So yeah, AI may be the future, but it's also one of the main reasons your next phone might silently creep up in price or cut costs in areas that matter. Speaking of cost cutting, let's talk about the build materials of the Galaxy S26 Ultra, because this one might disappoint a lot of people. From titanium back to aluminum, Galaxy S26 Ultra built rumors. Remember how Samsung proudly marketed titanium frames on the Galaxy S24 Ultra and S25 Ultra? Titanium became a buzzword: lighter, stronger, more premium. Well, according to recent reports, the Galaxy S26 Ultra might drop titanium and go back to aluminum. This actually mirrors what Apple has been rumored or reported to be considering: experimenting with titanium for a couple of generations, then switching back to more practical materials like aluminum, or hybrid frames for better internal space and thermal performance. Why would Samsung follow that path? Titanium sounds great in marketing, but it's harder to work with, more expensive, and not necessarily better for heat management or internal layout. Aluminum, on the other hand, can offer better thermal conductivity, helping the phone stay cooler. Under heavy loads like gaming or 4K video recording, allow more internal space or more flexible arrangement of components. Potentially make room for slightly larger batteries or better cooling systems. Here's the issue, though. If leaks are correct, Samsung isn't actually using that potential to give us a bigger battery on the Ultra. The Galaxy S26 Ultra is still expected to feature the same 5,000 milliamp hours battery we've seen for years. So while Apple, when they ship materials, often ties that to internal upgrades, Samsung might be dropping titanium without offering a meaningful upside to the user. The phone may be cheaper to produce, but you're not necessarily getting longer battery life or a radically better design in return.